My parents skipped my wedding. But when they spotted my $135,000 Porsche on Instagram, Mom rang, "We have to talk. Family meeting tomorrow." I walked in with a surprise. My wedding day should have been a dream. Instead, 3 empty seats at the altar screamed a painful truth: my parents chose not to be there. I never imagined that absence was just the first shot in a war I never wanted to fight. I stood alone in the bridal suite at Oak Creek Estate Winery, staring at my reflection. My wedding dress was perfect, every detail flawless, and the makeup artist had worked magic. But the white roses in my bouquet sat untouched, and my phone remained stubbornly silent. No messages from Catherine, nothing from David. Not even a text from Tyler. I must have checked it a dozen times in 20 minutes. A soft knock. Brenda, my wedding planner, poked her head in, her smile strained. "It's time, Chloe. Are you ready?" My gaze flickered to the window. 90 guests were seated, the string quartet playing softly. But there they were, 3 empty seats in the very front row, staring back like an accusation. "They're not coming, are they?" My voice shook. Brenda's smile completely dissolved. "There's still time," she offered, but we both knew it was a lie. I took a shaky breath, smoothed the silk of my gown. "Let's go." The garden doors opened, and all 90 heads turned as I walked alone down the aisle. Their sympathetic gazes felt like physical touches, little pats of pity that made my skin crawl. Whispers followed me. Encouraging smiles only made the hollow ache in my chest grow. My eyes locked onto Liam, waiting at the altar, his gaze steady and full of love. It was almost enough to silence the memory of Catherine's voice from 3 days earlier. "We'll try, sweetie. Tyler's firm has an event." Her dismissive tone cut through the phone like I was asking her to a casual lunch, not my only daughter's wedding. "I can pay for the flights," I'd pleaded, desperation clawing at my throat. "The hotel." "Anything, please, Mom." Then, David's voice, faint in the background, "Tell her we're busy now." I forced myself to breathe, one foot in front of the other. In. Out. I wouldn't cry. I wouldn't give them that satisfaction. Not even in their absence. When I finally reached Liam, he took my hands. His fingers were warm, solid, real. "I'm here," he whispered, so low only I could hear. "We're enough." For a moment, I was 8 years old again, watching Catherine and David fuss over Tyler's debate trophy. They'd meticulously positioned it, admired it, snapped photos. My own art contest certificate, the one I'd shown them earlier, was already forgotten in a kitchen drawer. "That's nice, honey," Catherine had said, barely glancing at it before turning back to dinner, even after I'd gushed about Mrs. Davies saying I had exceptional talent. Later, David had ruffled my hair absently. "Tyler needs more support. He's going places," he'd explained when I asked why they went to all his events but missed my art showcase. "You understand, don't you, Chloe? Catherine never missed an opportunity. Why can't you be more like your brother? He focuses on what matters." I tried harder after that. Academic awards, scholarships, business success, each one a desperate plea for their attention. Each one met with distracted acknowledgement, if any at all. The ceremony continued. My voice grew stronger with each vow, each promise to Liam. "I choose a future based on seeing each other clearly," I told him, those words carrying more weight than anyone, but he understood. When we were pronounced husband and wife, Liam's mother enveloped me. "You're one of us now, dear," she whispered, and a fraction of the tightness in my chest eased. Later, the photographer caught us on the dance floor, Liam twirling me under the lights. His cousins joined, a circle of laughter and music. For moments, I forgot the family-shaped hole in my celebration. Forgot the phone I'd checked 100 times, the explanations to curious guests. At the reception, my college roommate, Maya, raised her glass. "To finding the family who deserves you," she said, her eyes fierce. A murmur of agreement rippled through the room. Her words hit me. All these years, I'd been invisible to the people who should have seen me most. Chasing approval from those who never intended to give it. When the celebration slowed, I slipped away to check my phone one last time. Nothing. No calls, no messages, not even a token congratulations. Liam found me staring at the blank screen. They missed something beautiful today, he said, wrapping an arm around my waist. I looked at him, at the man who never made me feel like I needed to earn his attention. His family welcomed me without reservation. My friends traveled across the country. I put the phone down. Their choice, I said, feeling lighter than I had in years. Not my burden. For the first time, I almost believed it. 2 years later, I leaned back in my ergonomic chair. Acquisition of Crescent Motion Studio finalized at $21 million. 2 years of negotiation, 5 years building from scratch, now 8 figures of validation. My office door burst open. My team, bottles of champagne, plastic flutes. To Chloe. Nicole, my creative director, raised her glass. The woman who built something from nothing while certain people weren't looking. I smiled, clinking glasses with the 12 people who actually showed up for me. We were celebrating. Then my phone buzzed. Instagram. Tyler, posting about his twins' private school fundraiser. I shouldn't look. But I did. There they were. Catherine and David, flanking Tyler and Ashley. Their identical daughters in matching plaid uniforms. The caption, family tradition continues. Third generation at Lakeside Preparatory. David's arm around Tyler. Catherine beaming at her granddaughters. I swiped, Tyler's family vacation to Cabo San Lucas last month. A holiday gathering I wasn't invited to. David's retirement party. In each photo, they looked like the perfect American family, minus one daughter. What spoke volumes wasn't just the photos, but what they represented. The Cabo rental, thousands a week. Lakeside Prep, $30,000 a year per child. Tyler's house in a neighborhood where nothing sold for under $2 million. All funded by Catherine and David's retirement savings, family investments, according to distant cousins who occasionally remembered I existed. Chloe? Nicole touched my arm. Lost you for a minute. I locked my screen. Just checking messages. Where were we? The celebration continued. But I was calculating. Tyler's law firm was moderately successful, nowhere near this lifestyle. My parents had been quietly propping him up for years, depleting their retirement to maintain his image. My $21 million acquisition hadn't even warranted a text. After everyone left, I scrolled through Catherine and David's social media. Hundreds of posts, Tyler's accomplishments, the twins' milestones, family gatherings. My existence? A single, generic, happy birthday, Chloe last year, no photo. I closed my laptop. Made a decision. The next morning, I called my financial advisor. That Porsche, the metallic gray one? I want to buy it today. 3 hours later, I was signing papers for a luxury car. Extravagant? Unnecessary? Absolutely. And exactly what I wanted. Not for their approval, but because I never needed their money. Back home, I took a photo in my driveway, sun gleaming off the metallic finish. Posted it to Instagram, dreams realized. 3 days of silence. Then, Wednesday afternoon, my phone lit up with a name I hadn't seen in 5 years, Catherine calling. My stomach clenched. I answered. Hello, Chloe. Her voice, that familiar blend of authority and urgency reserved for family crises. We need to talk. Family meeting tomorrow. Family meeting? I echoed, disbelief thick. After 5 years of silence, you're calling about a family meeting? This is important. She paused. David's voice drifted from the background, tell her it's important. What's important? I asked. My wedding wasn't important. My business wasn't important. What exactly matters now? Catherine's voice tightened. It's complicated. Financial issues. We need to discuss it as a family. Of course. They saw the car. They knew about the acquisition. Suddenly, I was family again. Tomorrow at 2, I said, and hung up. The next morning, I slid into my new Porsche, the leather cool against my back. The 40-minute drive to my childhood home gave me too much time to remember, birthdays celebrated without me, achievements unacknowledged, holidays spent alone while they gathered. I parked in the circular driveway, my metallic gray car a stark contrast to their traditional colonial. I gripped the steering wheel, just for a moment. The last time I stood on that porch was 6 years ago, announcing my engagement to Liam. Catherine had nodded politely, David had checked his watch. They'd never needed me before. Why now? My phone buzzed. Liam, remember who you are. Call me if you need extraction. I smiled, despite myself. Another notification, Eleanor Vance, my investor, an email, your worth isn't measured by those who couldn't see it. And a final alert from my assistant, confirming tomorrow's meetings. Don't let them take too much time. Production review at 4. Come on, I told myself. I took a deep breath, recalling Dr. Green's words, boundaries aren't punishments, they're protection. I straightened my shoulders and stepped out. Before I could knock, the door swung open. Catherine and David stood there, their expressions shifting from annoyance to shock as they saw my Porsche. You've done well for yourself, David said. Not a hello. Not, I've missed you. Just an assessment of my financial worth. Yes, I replied simply. No hugs, no warmth. They led me to the dining room, where Tyler and Ashley already sat, their faces a picture of calculated concern. Chloe. Tyler nodded, as if we'd spoken last week, not 5 years ago. Let's get straight to business, David said, pulling out financial folders. I remained standing, my purse strapped tight in my grip, the only outward sign of the turmoil beneath my calm. No, I said. First, I'd like to know why I'm suddenly important enough for family discussions, after being excluded from everything else for years. Catherine and David exchanged glances. Tyler shifted. We can discuss that later, Catherine said, her voice sliding into that familiar dismissive tone. We have more pressing matters now. I'm not in a rush, I replied, still standing. And I'm not interested in being convenient family only when you need something. For the first time, I saw uncertainty flicker across David's face. In that moment, I understood, they needed me. And for once, I held the power. The dining room felt smaller than I remembered. David sat at the head of the table, hands folded like a board meeting chairman. Catherine perched beside him, posture perfect, worry etched on her face. Across from me, Tyler slumped, his designer shirt wrinkled. Ashley sat next to him, a leather photo album open. It's foreclosure, Chloe. David's voice was firm, yet held an unfamiliar tremor. Tyler's mortgage is 3 months behind. The twins' private school tuition, unpaid. I said nothing, let the silence hang. 2 years of no contact, and this was what brought us together. You need to help your brother. David slid loan paperwork across the table, already filled out. The presumption stole my breath. Think about your niece and nephew. Catherine's voice caught, a practiced hitch that once would have sent me scrambling. They're just children. They shouldn't suffer. Tyler leaned forward, eyes narrowed. We're family. That's what family does. When one succeeds, we help the others. Ashley pushed the album towards me. They ask about Aunt Chloe all the time. She pointed to photos of children I barely recognized, beaming at a birthday I wasn't invited to. Lily wants to know why you never visit. David cleared his throat. We've done everything we could. Our retirement fund is. He trailed off, exchanging a look with Catherine. We've been supporting them as best we can. The implication hung heavy, my success meant I owed them. My independence was selfish. I closed the album, slid it back. Where were you at my wedding? The question dropped, surprisingly calm. Tyler blinked. What? My wedding. 2 years ago. Where were you? Catherine's hand flew to her throat. We were busy. Tyler had that event. It wasn't convenient, David added, as if it were a missed dinner party. I nodded slowly, something crystallizing inside me. And yet here you are now. Because you saw the Porsche on Instagram. You only contacted me because of the car. Tyler's face flushed. That's not fair. Isn't it? I sat straighter, feeling the power of my financial independence infuse my spine. Where there was once an anxious curve, there was now steel. I built everything alone. Every scholarship, every client, every late night. Where were any of you? David's eyes narrowed. What's that got to do with the current situation? Everything. I folded my hands, mirroring his posture. I'm listening. Tell me why I should write a check today. Tyler slammed his hand down. You always had to prove something. Always showing off how smart, how creative, how special you were. Some of us were just trying to live normal lives. David's hand settled on Tyler's shoulder. Your brother had more potential. We had to nurture that. You were always so independent. We're still your parents, Catherine whispered, tears gathering. Despite everything, you were parents in title only, my voice remained steady, surprising even me. You missed my high school graduation. You missed my college scholarship ceremony. You missed the launch of my company. You missed my wedding. I tapped the table with each missed milestone. You missed my life. And now you want to share in what that life has built. Chloe, David began. You don't get to share it. My phone vibrated. Liam's message, you okay? Meeting running long. Seeing his name brought back Eleanor Vance's words, you don't need approval from anyone who can't see your light. I thought of my team at Crescent Motion, their faces shining as we toasted the acquisition, people who chose to see me, to support me, to believe in what I could build. In my briefcase lay the contract for the foundation funding, signed by the board last Tuesday. People who trusted me with purpose, not just money. David slid the loan paperwork closer. We're only asking for what's reasonable. Family helps family. The interest rate is quite fair, Catherine added, as if doing me a favor. Tyler's smirk returned. Blood is thicker than water, Chloe. I stood slowly, deliberately. Their eyes followed, leaning forward. I reached for my briefcase, setting it on the table with a soft thud. I've made a different decision, I said. Tyler's eyes fixed on my hands as I unlatched it. David shifted. Catherine's fingers twisted the napkin in her lap. Instead of a checkbook, I withdrew a single document. Placed it on the table. This is the announcement for the Davies Media Scholarship Foundation. $16 million to create opportunities for young women in digital media arts. I smoothed the paper. The press release goes out tomorrow morning. 16 million? Tyler choked out the number. Named after Mrs. Davies, my high school media arts teacher, the woman who attended my gallery showings when my family was too busy. The money was legally protected in a foundation trust, the board approved last week. Silence fell like concrete. I'm helping girls who never got the applause I didn't get, I said, gathering my belongings. That's what family means to me. Tyler's face contorted, veins standing out. You're wasting it on strangers. On nobody. Girls who deserve better than what I got, I snapped my briefcase shut. Girls who need someone to see them, to invest in them. My parents sat stunned, staring at the paper, millions they'd never touch. I picked up my phone, turned the screen towards them. A recording app displayed an active timer, 36:14 and counting. I've also documented every manipulative message from today, I said quietly. Every threat, demand, guilt trip. Just in case anyone gets creative with legal claims against the foundation. I walked toward the door, my footsteps echoing in the silence. Tyler's chair scraped back violently. You can't just leave. We need that money. I paused at the threshold, not turning back. No, Tyler. What you needed was to show up. At my graduation. At my company launch. At my wedding. I placed my hand on the doorknob. But that opportunity has passed. The door closed behind me with a soft click. It sounded like freedom. My Porsche purred beneath me as I drove away. My knuckles were no longer white on the steering wheel. The further I got, the steadier my hands became. I pressed the call button on my dashboard. It's done, I told Liam when he answered. They showed exactly who they are. How bad was it? His voice, full of concern, filled the car. Exactly what we expected. I took a deep breath, feeling lighter than I had in hours. Tyler lost his mind with the foundation paperwork. David tried to salvage it, but Catherine just kept crying about family obligation. Are you okay? A fair question. I glanced in the rearview mirror. No tears, no flush of embarrassment. Only a clear-eyed woman looking back. I'm better than okay. For the first time, I saw them clearly, without hoping for something different. I'm proud of you, Liam said. Remember, Foundation Board meeting at 9 tomorrow. Everything's ready for the press announcement. The timing was deliberate. Establish the foundation legally before any confrontation. Scheduled the announcement before they could regroup. No emotional pleas. Just legal structures they couldn't penetrate. The Davies Media Scholarship would be my legacy. Not a family drama. I'll be ready, I promised. Before I ended the call, the first message came at 11:47 p.m. By midnight, my phone buzzed continuously with family emergency texts. I silenced it, placed it face down. Our house was quiet, except for Liam's steady breathing. I didn't need to read their messages. Morning brought 6 voicemails from Catherine. Her tone progressed from weepy pleas for family unity to sharp accusations of betrayal, culminating in threats about what people will think of a daughter abandoning her family. You've dealt with worse, I told myself, applying mascara. My morning routine grounded me. My navy suit, the one I wore signing the acquisition papers, hung ready. Liam handed me coffee. Tyler's been calling business associates, he said, scrolling his phone. And your dad tried reaching my uncle. Predictable. I took a sip. Bitter, but fortifying. They were moving fast, but not cleverly. The foundation board meeting went smoothly. 12 accomplished women, all vetted, committed to supporting young female artists. The press release was unanimously approved. Launch details finalized. First recipient selected in 6 months. I was reviewing event proposals when Maria from reception called. Miss Chloe, your family is here. They're causing quite a scene. Through my office's glass walls, I saw security moving towards the lobby. I straightened papers that didn't need it. Have security escort them out, calmly and professionally. I watched as Catherine's voice rose over the office hum. My daughter is abandoning her family. Her hands gestured wildly. Tyler stood beside her, arms crossed, his face flushed that particular shade of red from childhood denials. My team watched me. I stood, smoothed my skirt, walked to my door. It's being handled, I said, with a calm I'd practiced. Let's continue. Security escorted them toward the elevators. Tyler's voice echoed back. This isn't over. We have family obligations you can't just ignore. That evening, I drafted a single email to all 3. I have documented your harassment at my workplace. Any further attempts to contact me at my office will result in a formal complaint. All communication regarding family matters must be directed through my attorney, whose contact information is attached. Chloe. Direct and clear, Dr. Green, my therapist, observed 2 days later in her sunlit office, the faint jasmine tea scent between us. How did it feel sending that? I traced the armchair pattern. Not satisfying, exactly. More like setting a boundary. Precisely, she offered. Yes, I looked up. They're showing who they've always been, aren't they? People tend to reveal themselves under pressure, Dr. Green said. What you're seeing isn't new behavior, just intensified. The realization washed over me, simple yet profound. I wanted their love, but they wanted my resources. That was the critical distinction. All those years. My voice trailed off as the connections formed, the childhood neglect, the absent parents, their sudden appearance only when I had something to offer. It wasn't my job to earn their love. It was their job to give it freely. And now, I knew I wasn't responsible for fixing them. The truth settled deep in my bones. There was freedom in that. The next morning, news broke that Tyler contacted the Seattle Times about a family dispute. The reporter, smarter than Tyler expected, asked why none of them attended my wedding. The resulting story painted a picture Tyler hadn't intended, parents absent during milestones, suddenly interested when money appeared. Catherine's social media rant generated an unexpected wave of support for me. Former classmates, business associates, even distant relatives reached out. We always wondered why they never talked about your success, wrote Kevin, a cousin I hadn't seen in years. David's attempts to contact my investors fizzled. The community rallied around the Scholarship Foundation instead. Applications poured in months before launch. The Seattle Business Journal requested an interview. I agreed, setting clear parameters, discussed the scholarship's purpose, not family matters. Sophia Chen, the reporter, met me. This is an impressive initiative, she said, reviewing the prospectus. $16 million is substantial. What inspired such generosity? I chose my words carefully. I had a teacher who saw potential in me when others didn't. Mrs. Davies changed my life by simply paying attention. I want to create that opportunity for young women who might otherwise be overlooked. You've built an impressive career, Sophia noted. Crescent Motion's acquisition was huge. Is your family proud? The question hung. I could dodge it. Instead, I met her eyes. My success was built without family support. They weren't at my wedding, my graduation, or when I sold my company. Sophia's pen paused. That provides interesting context for the Foundation's mission. Later that week, the article appeared, Self-Made Success Creates Legacy of Support. The contrast between my generosity and my family's entitlement became public narrative. When news of Tyler's house foreclosure broke days later, the community connected the dots, without my saying a word. Liam handled increased security at our home. My business team managed communication, filtering messages, prioritizing foundation work. Eleanor Vance, my first investor and mentor, released a statement supporting my commitment to lifting others, not enabling dependency. My college friends formed a protective circle, filling our calendar with dinners and events, leaving no room for family drama. Dr. Green provided anchoring in weekly sessions. This united front became my chosen family, intentional, supportive. 2 weeks after the confrontation, I received the Business Leadership Award from the Women in Media Alliance. Standing at the podium, looking out at faces that genuinely celebrated my success, I realized the tables had completely turned. Catherine and David's retirement plans were delayed indefinitely. Ashley's social position in her country club circles eroded with their financial collapse. Tyler's twins would transfer to public school next semester. Meanwhile, the foundation thrived, generating positive coverage far beyond Seattle. The story resonated not because I sought revenge, but because I transformed pain into purpose. The committee selected 3 finalists for the first award, Maria told me, placing portfolios on my desk. They'd like your input by Friday. I opened the first file, reviewing the work of a young woman whose teacher noticed her talent when no one else did. The circle completed itself, healing through action. Family defined by what it does, not what it claims to be. For the first time, I felt truly seen. In the weeks that followed, I deleted the 4th voicemail from Aunt Meredith, not listening past her plea of, "Everyone misses you, Chloe." The Thanksgiving invitation sat in my inbox, subject line, "Family needs to be together." Transparent manipulation. My phone chimed with a text from Kevin, my cousin, "I don't understand this rift between you and Uncle David. Can't you just talk to them?" Of course he didn't understand. He wasn't at my empty wedding. He didn't witness 20 years of invisibility. A letter arrived from Catherine, elegant handwriting unmistakably hers. "We always believed in you," she wrote, rewriting our history. The envelope now sits half-burned in my fireplace, edges curled and blackened like the lies it contains. David called my office directly last week. "We need to clear the air," he'd said, utterly devoid of acknowledging his actions. My assistant, following strict instructions, told him I was permanently unavailable. The final straw came when Tyler sent the twins to my office with handmade cards. "We miss Aunt Chloe," written in childish handwriting I knew wasn't theirs. The manipulation was so transparent, it made my stomach turn. "They're using every emotional lever they can find," Liam observed, examining the cards on our kitchen counter. "They're desperate." I flipped through the week's collection of attempts, but still no actual apology. The family attorney called next, his voice professionally neutral. "There are moral obligations to consider, Chloe. Family ties carry certain responsibilities." The implication was clear: I was the villain. The heartless daughter who abandoned her struggling family. Pastor Miller, from the church I stopped attending years ago, left a voicemail. "Your parents are deeply concerned. Perhaps we could meet." Two childhood friends, neither spoken to in a decade, suddenly reached out. "Your parents seem so heartbroken," one said. "The holidays are for forgiveness," said the other. When Tyler's wife, Ashley, emailed photos of the twins in Halloween costumes, "The children ask about you constantly," I nearly threw my phone. "They're framing this entire situation as my responsibility," I told Dr. Green. "My forgiveness, my duty, my failure to be the bigger person." "And how does that make you feel?" she asked, eyes steady. "Angry," I admitted. "But also validated. They wouldn't fight this hard if they weren't afraid of losing control." The foundation selection meeting brought an unexpected challenge. The committee recommended a scholarship for Maya Harrison, a 17-year-old filmmaker whose application video showed remarkable talent and painful familiarity. "She reminds me of myself," I told Liam that night, quiet, determined, overlooked. I watched her interview video again. Maya's eyes held the same weariness I saw in my own wedding photos. She spoke of finding her voice through filmmaking when her family couldn't hear her. "What if I'm wrong to cut them off completely?" The question slipped out. Liam sat beside me. "What brought this on?" "Maya. If I'm telling these girls to find their strength, am I modeling that by running away from my family? Is setting boundaries running away?" Liam asked. I considered this. "No, boundaries aren't abandonment." "What would you tell Maya if her family treated her like yours treated you?" The answer came easily. I'd tell her she deserves people who see her worth. The Thursday before Thanksgiving, I hosted dinner at our home. The extended dining room table held everyone, Liam beside me, Eleanor across, my business team scattered between. Maya, the scholarship recipient, sat at the opposite end, her certificate framed behind her. Our home glowed with a warmth Catherine and David's house never had. Candles flickered. Laughter echoed. No one here needed to prove their worth to be seen. I raised my glass, to those who see us as we are. The toast echoed. My phone stayed off. The meal unfolded, conversations flowing without the undercurrent of judgment I grew up with. Over dessert, I announced the Foundation's new mentorship program. "I'll be personally involved with each recipient," I explained. "We're creating connections that matter." Maya's eyes widened. "You'll be mentoring us yourself?" I smiled. "This foundation isn't just about money. It's about building something meaningful together." Eleanor nodded approvingly. "You've created structures that can't be interfered with." "The foundation's independence is legally secured," I confirmed. "Its success will be measured by impact, not approval." Later, clearing plates, Liam turned on the local news. Right on schedule, the foundation feature aired, strategically timed for my family's traditional dinner hour. On screen, I spoke with earned confidence: "We build family through action, not obligation." The report transitioned to financial analysis, contrasting the foundation's transparent governance with examples of mismanagement, including a not-so-subtle reference to Tyler's business failures. Maya watched, transfixed. They're comparing your brother's company to the foundation. Facts speak for themselves, I said, stacking dessert plates with steady hands. The community validated what my family refused to see. The following morning, Catherine and David requested a meeting at a downtown Seattle coffee shop. I arrived in the Porsche, the car that triggered their sudden interest after years of silence. David looked older, defeat etched around his mouth. We should have been there, he admitted, staring at his untouched coffee. At the wedding? I asked, though I knew he meant more. Everywhere. His voice cracked. All those years. Catherine's eyes shimmered. How can we fix this? The question hung. 3 months ago, I might have grasped at that opening, desperate for acknowledgement. Now, I felt only calm clarity. Some things can't be fixed, I told them. Only accepted. Catherine flinched. I'm not closing the door forever, I continued. But I need accountability, not convenience. I'll consider limited contact after you both start therapy. That's unnecessary, David began, the old dismissiveness. Returning. It's non-negotiable. I sipped my tea, warmth spreading through my chest like certainty. They exchanged glances, the silent communication of people who never expected consequences for their choices. Tyler's financial collapse stripped away their illusions of his superiority. My success existed beyond their reach. The foundation thrived, independent of their approval. When they left, no agreements made, no concessions offered. I watched them walk to their car, a sensible sedan now, the luxury vehicles long gone. I drove away without looking back. Freedom replaced obligation with every beat of my heart. The foundation awaited. Maya's project needed review. My chosen family expected me for dinner. For the first time, I was moving towards something, instead of away from someone. And that made all the difference. I stood in the sunlit studio of the Crescent Foundation, watching Maya adjust her camera. The morning light filtered through, casting golden patterns. It had been a year since I last faced my family. What about this angle? Maya looked up, eyes bright with the same creative fire Mrs. Davies once saw in mine. Try moving it slightly left. Catch how the light falls. My voice carried the confidence of a mentor, not the desperate plea of a daughter. On the wall behind Maya, photos documented our scholarship recipients' projects, stories they never could have told without the foundation's support. Each frame represented a voice that might have been silenced, just as mine nearly was. My office here replaced the childhood bedroom where I once dreamed of being seen. Every element, from the ergonomic chair to the awards displayed without apology, I chose deliberately. Nothing inherited, nothing tainted by obligation or guilt. I've finished the final cut of my documentary, Maya said, straightening. Would you watch it? We moved to the editing bay. Her project played on the HD monitor, a documentary following 3 generations of women in a rural Washington family, their struggles and resilience beautifully captured through Maya's lens. Watching her work, I felt a swell of pride different from anything I'd known. This wasn't about me. It was about what she created. When the credits rolled, Maya turned, tears in her eyes. You're the reason I believe I can do this, she said, wrapping her arms around me. I thought of Mrs. Davies. How she recognized something in me when my own parents couldn't be bothered. How her belief sustained me. Now, the cycle continued, not of neglect, but of genuine support. Later that week, I stood at the podium of the Seattle Fine Arts Center, accepting a Community Leadership Award. The audience applauded. A sea of appreciative faces, not pitying ones. Liam sat in the front row, beaming with unrestrained pride. No empty seats causing me pain tonight. No phantom family members I wished were here. Every person in this room truly saw me. Thank you, I began, my voice steady. This journey began in invisibility, and has led to impact. For years, I measured my worth by the approval I couldn't earn from people who refused to give it. I paused, my gaze sweeping the room. Now I measure it by what we build together. The standing ovation washed over me like a cleansing wave. Dr. Green called it post-traumatic growth, the strange peace I found after accepting some wounds never fully heal. I maintained careful boundaries with extended family. Holiday gatherings now centered around chosen family, filled with genuine joy, not dread. Liam and I established our own traditions. Eleanor Vance's retirement party at the foundation last month brought together the circles of support that lifted me when blood ties failed. The emergency fund for students facing financial hardship, my latest project, ensured talent wasn't crushed by circumstance. I understood now what these young women needed because I lived without it, unconditional belief in their potential. Driving home through Seattle in my Porsche, I passed the coffee shop where I once edited videos on a borrowed laptop. Through the window, I caught a glimpse of Catherine and David walking on the sidewalk. Our eyes meet briefly. I didn't stop. There was no pain in that moment. Only peaceful acknowledgement. They taught me what love isn't. Liam and my work taught me what it is. Tomorrow, Maya would set up her next project. I'd be there, camera in hand, showing her techniques I'd mastered over years of making myself visible. Family isn't who raises you. It's who lifts you. Have you ever had to choose your own family?